Coming up today, building better athletes and protecting them while they train. We catch up with 2 state champions as they keep their bodies ready for a new season. Good morning, I'm Jessica Lovell and welcome to the Morning Medical Update. Whether the goal is a trophy, a scholarship, or simply staying strong, what happens off the field can be just as important as game day. That's where strength and conditioning come in. Dedicated athletes keep their bodies ready even in the off season. And these 2 champs have expert help.
Go!
It's more than just sweat and reps. Go! It's preparation, passion, and performance.
Go!
At the University of Kansas Health System Sports Medicine and Performance Center,
all into it.
Student athletes are training for more than just the next game. St. Thomas Aquinas Jr. Layla Bolin is coming off a state championship basketball season.
I want to see about 3 good reps here.
She credits this 10-week summer program for sharpening both her mind and her body.
If you don't have that mental fitness, you're not really going to make it that far. It takes a lot and it's hard, but you just got to push through it.
Layla trains with performance coach Mariah Elmore.
Slightly back a little bit more.
She says the mental conditioning is just as tough and just as important.
Just to strengthen and work on my agility and quickness and stuff, and they've actually been paying off.
Go.
On the turf, St. Thomas Aquinas senior Max Mansky is gearing up for his final high school football season.
Go.
Like Layla,
good job.
He's coming off a state championship. And like her, he's seeing the results of this program.
I think without this, I don't know if I would have even have started last year.
Wow.
I think it's done a lot.
And go.
Max has been training with the Health System's Sports Medicine and Performance team since he was little.
We can sleep in this position because we're linemen.
And transitioned into the new program when the Health System took over.
And relax, good job.
Not so much.
No, you can't sleep in that one.
Working with Roger has doubled or tripled my skill level and my football knowledge.
Yeah, right there.
Roger Allen, the strength and athletic development supervisor, says safety and injury prevention are top priorities, especially for young athletes. They work with kids as young as 8 through the age of 21.
KU has a ton of really educated individuals that we can collaborate with, be together. That helps us identify injuries and really help us find ways to train athletes to prevent them from having injuries.
Give me that one more time here.
Layla has already received scholarship offers from more than a half-dozen universities, and she's only a junior. Max is chasing a Division I football opportunity.
See how that made you faster?
Both say this summer program has given them the edge.
It helps a lot having someone look just at you and only try to coach you. Because at school, you're still getting coaching, but the coach has to look at 5 other guys every single rep.
On that right leg.
All my coaches have a specialty so that we can work with a wide range of athletes.
Roger and his team of trainers run programs for youth athletes, helping the next generation not just play, but play smarter, stronger, and safer.
Adductors are your groin muscles.
And I'm here with Roger Allen this morning. He is the Strength and Development Supervisor at the University of Kansas Health System. How are you?
I'm great.
Good to see you here on this Monday morning. And bright and early with us, we have Max and Layla. We just saw them there in that video, and they are joining us from their school field. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Good to have you both. We'll get back to you in just a moment. But Roger, I want to talk with you a little bit. You, of course, have played at the highest of levels. What's the biggest difference between how you were trained and then how you train these athletes today?
Honestly, it goes to the education of the trainers. My strength and conditioning coach was my head coach of high school, and he was a great head coach. Coach Pete Carpino, he was the motivation who got me into the football field in the first place and convinced me to play football. But with that said, he didn't go to school for strength and conditioning, you know what I mean? So a lot of it was recycled information that he was trained under, 20 years prior to that, so there wasn't a lot of innovation and customization to the workout, especially adapting to different athletes' bodies.
A lot of fine tuning, I take it.
Exactly, that's the difference.
So when you first met Max, what stood out about his movement, his strength, even his mindset?
What I loved about Max is that he was tall and he had an awesome frame, and then more than anything, Max was really willing to work. you know, and that's something I can't train. I can't teach somebody to be tough. I can't teach somebody to have grit. And Max has always had grit. He's always pushed when I ask him to go. You know, he doesn't hesitate. You know, so I can work with that.
You can work with that. And you've been working with him since the 8th grade. What did you know had to improve when you first met him back then?
Max has really long limbs, right? And so with the long limbs and him growing so fast, you know, the coordination was something that we really wanted to focus on developing, and his overall strength. And he's come so far, and you know, I call him the dancing bear, you know, because he's agile. He's able to do all these movements and things that some of my skill players struggle with, you know, and he's learned how to do them and do them well and do them efficiently. So I'm really proud of how far he's come. Yeah,
you got to how to figure out what to do with those long limbs.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about how far he's come, because Max, you've had this big goal ahead of you, a Division I offer. Any progress on that?
I got a visit to KU that I got scheduled for a couple weeks from now, so that's exciting. And I'm talking to Valparaiso, and I think that'll be a good opportunity too.
I think so. Okay, so let me ask you, what's been one of the hardest things that Roger's asked you to do?
I think it's kind of just like the in and out day-to-day grind that's pretty hard. It's not like one specific thing, it's just being able to get up every day and do what you're supposed to do.
What's been the most rewarding?
Just like looking back and seeing where I started and seeing how far I've come, that makes me pretty happy.
I bet. I think Roger feels the same way. Was there anything, Max, that you thought you were doing right in your training that turned out maybe you weren't doing quite right? Maybe it was wrong that you've improved on?
Pretty much all of my technique, because our school trains kind of unorthodox, so like learning how to do things that the collegiate level would teach you now is pretty useful.
Where did you feel the biggest difference in your body or your game? Is it your footwork, explosiveness, recovery? Where did you see the biggest difference?
Probably mentally, because I've learned so much about football from Roger. He's taught me how to be a student of the game, not just a player.
Wow, Roger, that's quite a compliment. Mentally, to hear him say mentally, that's quite impressive. How does that make you feel?
It feels great, because you know what I can do to his body can only go so far, but how I can educate him on how to just think and be a coach on the field. You know, those are things that make you instrumental to a football team.
What are the most common injuries that you see in high school linemen, and how do you work to try and prevent them?
It's knees and ankles, especially being in the trenches, being a blocker. You know, everyone's either in front of you or behind you, and they're constantly falling around your knees and ankles. So getting an athlete thrown into your legs or tackled into your legs happens quite often. So flexibility is key, mobility is key, and then making sure all the muscles and tissues around the joints are strong and stable. Those are going to be really, really important. And then for an offensive lineman, we're constantly pushing against someone, so bracing and learning how to brace properly and tighten the core is really, really imperative. Otherwise, back issues are probably the third most common injury amongst offensive linemen.
And how do you monitor load and recovery in athletes with large frames and heavy workloads?
Really, it's going to be a conversation. It's always asking the athlete how they feel. And then making sure the athlete knows that they're in a safe place to tell us honestly how they feel. And then responding and adjusting the workout based off of that. Everybody's at a different level of recovery, you know, and so adapting to their needs and demands is going to be really, really important, and is how you train intelligently instead of just making people do what you want to do just because that's what you had planned that day.
We saw some of the video of you training with Max, but what does a typical conditioning and strength session look like for a lineman?
Well, at our facility, we always like to start with the speed and agility first. So we'll do some dynamic movement prep and muscle activation, and then after that we'll go into a speed and agility training, and then we'll go into position-specific work, and then from there we'll go into the weight room and target the stabilizing muscles and strengthen those in the rotator cuff, the core, the pelvis, and the ankles, and then we'll go into explosive movements and then strength training.
This is Max's last season at high school. Where has he made the biggest gains this past summer?
Biggest gains is probably agility. Like I said, you know, he was still trying to figure out his body when I first got a hold of him. You know, he was a little clumsy, but he's gotten so much more athletic. He rarely hits the ground unless he's driving someone into the ground. You know, right. So whereas he's not tripping over his feet anymore or anything like that, the second thing is that he's just so physical. You know, he's a very gentle person and gentle soul. He's not aggressive at all. So getting that out of him, bringing that out of him, and now he's like one of the most aggressive guys on his offensive lineman. And I'm like, I'm very proud about that.
I bet you, yeah, he's been a challenge for you. That's great. Yes. Let's turn to Layla. Let's talk about her. She came into the summer already playing at a very high level. What has been the focus of her work, and how do you keep her challenged when she's already at such a high level?
So Layla does a great job. She trains with one of my assistants, Mariah Elmore, and Layla and Mariah has been really focusing on explosiveness and injury prevention as well. And with her sport, basketball, you know, it's really important to be agile and be able to react quickly off of stimuli. So that's what Mariah's really been focused on with Layla, is just being able to change the direction in which she's asking Layla to turn quickly and be explosive in doing so, and then having her read and react.
What changes in the workouts more specifically when the goal is maximizing the explosiveness rather than maybe just building that base fitness in the muscles?
Really, it's going to be the intensity in which what we're asking her to do, along with recovery time. Mm-hmm. We are going to ask her to do very dynamic movements, very explosive movements at 100% intensity, and then giving her plenty of time to recover, because otherwise, if you don't give an athlete time to recover when you're asking them to give 100%, their 100% is going to start to dwindle just because of lack of ATP, lack of energy molecules. So we have to give them time to rebuild and recover before we ask them to go 100% again.
It's interesting. I hear you saying that like none of these workouts are one size fits all. Every athlete has different, very specific things that they're working on.
Exactly.
That you're curtailing these workouts to. Layla, let's bring you in and talk about this a little bit. With so many offers on the table, what's keeping you going? What's keeping you pushing? And what are you aiming for the next level? Can you hear us okay, Layla? We're going to try to get back with Layla here in just a moment. But what have been some of her goals? We know and talk to us a little bit about some of her goals and what she's trying to accomplish on the collegiate level.
Like Max, she's focused on just securing that Division I scholarship and knowing exactly where she wants to go. So like she has so many offers, and so for her it's going to be more about making sure she finds a place that fits her and fits her playing style, and that she can give the most impact early on, and then once again have a great senior season going into this last basketball season for her.
Yeah, so she's basketball.
Yeah, basketball. Yeah, exactly.
And so she's got some offers that she's looking at.
Exactly.
Layla, can you hear us? I just want to keep checking in with you. Okay, Roger, we're going to try to get back with Layla when we can, but when it comes to training female athletes, especially in sports like basketball and soccer, as we're talking about, where do you see the biggest gaps in traditional strength programs out there versus what you're doing with these ladies?
Well, Dr. Lisa Vopot has developed our female athlete program, which is a holistic program throughout the health system that we focus on taking care of female athletes' bodies and the different needs that a female athlete has versus a male athlete. Common sense that we all know that men and women have different bodies, but yet throughout sports, they've been trained the exact same. And so we have to also make sure we pay attention to the different demands that a female athlete has versus a male athlete, and and adjust and make sure that we're optimizing that athlete's performance in that athlete's body and injury prevention. So with us, we really focus on pelvic floor control because the anterior pelvic tilt will lead to knee valgus, and knee valgus increases an athlete's chances of having a knee injury or ankle injury. Helping athletes better understand how to control the pelvis and develop the strength to be able to do that under dynamic loads and fast movements, we truly believe that we will be able to reduce their ACLs, or ACL tears, I should say.
Layla, can you hear us okay? You got me?
Yeah.
Okay. Just after we were just talking with Roger, what have you learned from your trainer about your own body and your limits?
I would just say that, like, taking care of your body is probably the most important in recovery. I learned that, like, if you don't take care of your body, you won't make it very far. And then secondly, like, you have to push past your limits or else there will be no growth and, like, no improvement. So those are the two major things I've learned.
Layla, have you noticed the work in the weight room translating to the changes on how you move or how you're playing on the court?
Yeah, I've noticed it in, like, a variety of different ways. Like, my explosiveness on the court, I can see it translating, and then, like, my agility and my quickness has definitely improved as well.
What part of your training was totally new to you? Something maybe you've never done before, but maybe now you love doing?
I'll say probably, like, the field work we do in the beginning. That was pretty new to me, but now I love doing it. It's my favorite part of the workout.
Okay, I'm sure Roger loves hearing that. So we're going to keep you doing more of that. All right, Layla and Max, we're so glad you were able to join us this morning. Unfortunately, I'm going to send you back to class. So thanks for getting up early with us. Get back to class, and we're going to catch up with one of your coaches here in just a little bit. But Roger, I want to keep asking you about those ACL injuries. Big concern for those female athletes. Again, tell us again a little bit more about reducing the risk for that, because that is a big concern because we know it's such a common injury. What can students do and just anybody do to make sure that they're making sure that they're staying out of the trenches on that?
Really, it comes down to core and core control and just making sure that your body's imbalanced. Everybody has imbalances in the body. And those imbalances can affect your entire body through the whole kinetic chain because all your muscles are connected to one another. So if one muscle is tight, that leads to the next muscle to that being tight, and then all the way down the chain, right? So you have to address the whole body as a whole, not just where the imbalance is showing itself. So if we see knee valgus, then we have to, aka knees caving in, we have to then look at the ankles. Does the athlete have the strength to maintain a neutral foot position? If that's the case, all right, how are the adductors, aka their groins? Are they strong enough to be able to control the knee? Then work our way all the way up to the hips and the spine, and then eventually we'll be able to figure out what is off that's causing that imbalance. And then once we find that, we address it, we focus on it, and then eventually, hopefully, we're able to eliminate it.
What kind of movement assessments or screenings do you do before and while you're trying to design a plan for a student athlete?
We basically have every athlete go through all planes of movement. So we'll have them squat, we'll have them lunge, we'll have them hinge, we'll have them row, we'll have them push, and then we'll have them rotate. And if we see any impairment in the range of motion, then that is a key that's a identifying factor that's going to help us say, okay, they're not able to squat down to 90 degrees. Okay, do they have tight calves? Do they have tight hips? Do they have tight groin? What is it that's preventing them to get to that full range of motion? And the same thing with the hinge. The back is rounding. So is that because of tight hamstrings? Is that because of tight glutes? Whatever impairment we see, we know there's going to be a list of 3 to 5 different things that we need to address to see if that's going to be causing the problem and where we're going to focus our solution.
Well, while we have him here, make sure you ask Roger your questions. You can use the chat on YouTube or Facebook. You can email the Medical News Network. That information is right there on your screen. What is one myth about athletic training that you'd like to bust for parents or any young athletes that are watching?
Getting an athlete stronger makes them better. Making an athlete strong does not make them better. If you build an amazing house on a broken foundation, that house is going to eventually crumble. Doesn't matter how beautiful it is. All right, so it's all about the foundation and making sure, once again, an athlete's body is balanced before you focus on improving that athlete's overall strength, because you might make them extremely strong and they can squat 600 pounds. All right, but if they have an imbalance that's going to eventually lead to a muscle strain or muscle tear, then that 600-pound squat is worthless.
Yeah, and it's going to hurt you.
It's going to hurt you.
So balance over strength.
Exactly.
Every time. Let's bring in one of the coaches over at St. Thomas Aquinas this morning. Good morning to girls basketball coach Rick Hetzel. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having us.
No, good. Good to have you this morning. Rick, what do you tell your athletes about the importance of summer training?
Yeah, summer training is huge because everything we do in the off season obviously builds up for the season. These kids play so much in the summer that what we focus on really is just trying to get them to practice more in terms of shot selection, shooting, et cetera, and some training, endurance.
Rick, how important is mental fitness?
You know, for us at Aquinas, the amount of pressure our kids is under is unfair for them, really. So we focus a lot on just trying to get the kids to relax and just give their best effort. So mentally being able to handle that is critical to our success.
We heard from Layla a little bit ago. How has her grit and investment in herself affected her performance?
Layla is one of the best athletes we've ever had at Aquinas. Her speed and quickness is amazing, and she still has a lot to work on in terms of getting stronger and stronger with the ball, but her improvement's been enormous.
Roger, what advice would you give to a talented 8th grader just starting to get serious about sports?
Just perfect the fundamentals. You know, perfect being able to squat with body weight through a full range of motion. Then the same thing goes for a lunge, row, push, press, all the main things. And that's really what it is. Sometimes kids get too specialized in a sport way too early before they learn how to just control their body. And going through middle school, you're going through those growth spurts. Your body's changing literally weekly, getting a little bit longer, a little bit taller. And so that athlete's constantly trying to adjust to that. So it's really just getting down to fundamentals before you try to get too specialized.
Let's get to some questions from our viewers this morning. Jeremy wants to know, do you work with the kids on food and nutrition as well? And if you do, what should they be doing different than a non-athlete?
So I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist. We do have certified nutritionists. And for them, they really focus on just having a balanced meal program with, you know, making sure they get the right macronutrients. And, you know, it's always important just to fuel your body. There's athletes that sometimes will go throughout the school year the whole day without eating. And as an athlete, you know, you can't do that. You need to be having breakfast, you need to have lunch, you know, you have to have snacks in between. So making sure they planned for the entire day to fuel their body so that they can compete at a high level at practice and at games is going to be really important.
Angie wants to know, does playing more than one sport help or hurt an athlete?
I personally believe it helps. As long as an athlete has an off season somewhere, whether it's summer, fall, winter, spring, one of the 4 seasons should be an off season so that athlete's body has a chance to recover and has time to really focus on training. But besides that, you know, the other 3 seasons, yeah, stay busy. And I always recommend sports that focus on a different plane of movement. You know, there's soccer is great for eye-foot coordination. Then you can play like an upper body sport like baseball, basketball, and then, you know, football, wrestling. Those sports are full body and full body control and learning proprioception. So I like sports that focus on a different hemisphere of the body, all right, and that gives an athlete an overall better tool bag on how to be athletic and move your body as well.
Tony wants to know, how does your own professional background help you understand student athletes trying to make it to the next level? And remind people, please, what your professional background is. All
right, so I played 4.5 years in the NFL with the Rams, Saints, Panthers, and Buccaneers. And what my career and what inspired me to get into strength conditioning was the fact that I got really strong and was athletic, but my career was riddled with injuries. Every season I finished the season on IR, and it wasn't until I got out of the NFL and started to study the body that I realized that a lot of my injuries were preventable. You know, a lot of my injuries were overuse injuries or injuries because of how I was training wasn't efficient for my body. And I had imbalances that I wasn't addressing, that I was avoiding, you know, and so I was strengthening my strengths, but not ever strengthening my weaknesses. And then those weaknesses were exposed whenever I was put in compromising situations on the field. So that was my mission going back and getting this job at KU, was getting a hold of athletes' bodies while they're fresh, while they're young, and training them properly, making sure they're balanced as they grow and develop, so that, you know, once they hit college and high school, high school, college, and then hopefully the next level after that, they have a great foundation, right? And so that the next strength coach, next coach can build an awesome house on top of it.
I bet, yeah. NFL, lucky to have you, but we got you now. So we're glad to have you now. So, well, let's get our takeaways today. I want to go back out to Coach Rick. So glad that you could join us this morning. What's the big lesson today? What do you want people to know?
Oh, I couldn't agree more with what the gentleman just said about multi-sports. I think that's a great way to keep kids learning how to compete in different sports, learning how to compete with different teammates, less injuries. I mean, you can just go on and on about that. Learning how to compete in a different role on your team, I think it's just huge with that.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for being with us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roger, what's the big takeaway?
I love what Coach said as well. Just learning how to compete. Learning how to compete along with taking care of your body is one of the best things that we as coaches can pass on to an athlete. Take care of your body. You're only going to get one. So, you know, you should probably take care of it. And then on top of that, compete to be the best you can be. Compete to be better than you were yesterday. Compete to be the best on your team. Compete to be the best in your state, and then best in the nation. And then if you always compete, then you'll have no regrets.
I love that. Thank you. Thanks for sitting in with me today.
All right. Thank you for having me.
You bet. You bet. All right. Thanks to all of our guests for being with us. Thanks to our viewers for being with us today. Have a great one. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
I'm Alexis Del Cid. On the next All Things Brain Health. Imagine struggling with every daily task, even sitting still or drinking a glass of water. That's the reality for 3 siblings with a rare neurological disorder. Learn about the brain implant with the potential to give them their lives back. Tuesday at 8 a.m.
Subscribe to our morning medical update and open mics with Dr. Stites podcast. Now, everywhere podcasts are available.